Sarah Martinez had always dreamed of becoming a firefighter. Growing up in a small Texas town where everyone knew everyone, she watched the local fire department respond to emergencies with admiration and respect. The red trucks racing down Main Street represented heroism to her young mind, and she promised herself that one day she would be behind the wheel of one of those magnificent machines. After graduating high school with honors, Sarah enrolled in the fire academy. The training was brutal, carrying heavy equipment, climbing endless ladders, and enduring smoke-filled simulations that tested every limit of human endurance. Many of her classmates dropped out within the first month, but Sarah persevered. She had something to prove, not just to herself, but to everyone who had ever doubted that a woman could handle the physical demands of firefighting. The academy instructors were tough but fair. Captain Rodriguez, a 20-year veteran with scars mapping his adventures across his weathered hands, became Sarah's mentor. He saw potential in her determination and work ethic that reminded him of his younger self. During late evening training sessions, he would share stories of real emergencies, teaching her that firefighting was as much about quick thinking as it was about physical strength. Sarah excelled in her studies, mastering fire suppression techniques, emergency medical procedures, and rescue operations. She learned to read smoke patterns like others read books, understanding how fire behaved in different environments and structures. Her classmates began to respect her expertise, and even the most skeptical instructors acknowledged her competence. The physical challenges never deterred her. When others struggled with the 100-pound ladder drills, Sarah found ways to use leverage and technique to compensate for any perceived physical disadvantages. She studied body mechanics and developed innovative approaches that impressed her instructors. Her dedication was evident in every training exercise, from rappelling down buildings to navigating through pitch-black smoke-filled corridors. Throughout her training, Sarah kept one secret close to her heart. Hidden beneath her training gear, covering most of her back, was an intricate tattoo that told a deeply personal story. The design featured a phoenix rising from flames, surrounded by delicate roses and meaningful dates. Each element represented a chapter of her life: the loss of her younger brother in a house fire when she was 16, her mother's battle with cancer, and her own journey of healing and transformation. The tattoo had been completed over several sessions during her college years, each sitting a cathartic experience that helped her process grief and find strength. The artist had created something beautiful from her pain, transforming her back into a canvas of resilience and hope. She had never shown it to anyone in the fire department, knowing that some people might judge her before understanding the profound meaning behind the artwork. As graduation approached, Sarah felt confident in her abilities. She had mastered every skill, passed every test, and earned the respect of her peers. The final weeks of training included intensive practical examinations, where cadets demonstrated their competencies in real-world scenarios. Sarah approached these challenges with the same determination that had carried her through months of rigorous preparation. Her fellow cadets had become like family, supporting each other through the demanding program. They shared stories of their motivations for joining the fire service, creating bonds that would last throughout their careers. Sarah's story of losing her brother resonated with many who had experienced similar tragedies, and her leadership qualities emerged naturally as she helped struggling classmates master difficult techniques. The Academy's final ceremony was scheduled for the following week, where families and department officials would gather to celebrate the newest generation of firefighters. Sarah had already received confirmation of her assignment to Station 19, one of the busiest houses in the city. She looked forward to finally putting her training to use, serving her community and honoring her brother's memory through her chosen profession. Captain Rodriguez pulled her aside after the final training drill, his expression serious but kind. He explained that the transition from academy to active duty would present new challenges, emphasizing the importance of teamwork and communication in real emergency situations. Sarah listened intently, grateful for his guidance and excited about the opportunity to prove herself in the field. That evening, as Sarah packed her training gear for the last time, she reflected on the journey that had brought her to this moment. The months of physical and mental preparation had transformed her into a confident, capable firefighter ready to serve her community. She thought about her brother, knowing he would be proud of her accomplishment and the path she had chosen to honor his memory. Station 19 stood like a fortress of red brick and chrome, its bay doors gleaming in the morning sunlight when Sarah arrived for her first day. The building buzzed with activity as the previous shift completed their equipment checks and prepared to hand over duties to the incoming crew. Sarah adjusted her crisp new uniform, feeling a mixture of excitement and nervousness as she walked through the apparatus bay. Captain Williams, a stern-faced man in his 50s with silver hair and penetrating blue eyes, greeted the new recruits in the day room. His reputation preceded him, a no-nonsense leader who demanded excellence from his crew and had zero tolerance for mistakes that could cost lives. The station's walls were covered with commendations and photographs from decades of service, creating an atmosphere of tradition and pride. The crew of Station 19 consisted of seasoned veterans who had worked together for years. Lieutenant Thompson, a 40-year-old woman who had broken barriers in the department decades earlier, served as the senior company officer. Engineer Martinez operated the pump truck with precision that came from 15 years of experience. Firefighters Johnson and Davis rounded out the team, both respected for their technical expertise and unwavering reliability under pressure. During the morning briefing, Captain Williams outlined the day's training objectives. The crew would practice high-angle rescue techniques using the department's newest equipment. Sarah listened carefully as he explained the importance of proper harness fitting and safety protocols, taking detailed notes in her training journal. The other firefighters shared stories of recent rescues, helping her understand the practical applications of the techniques they would practice. The training began in the station's drill tower, a 4-story concrete structure designed to simulate various emergency scenarios. Sarah demonstrated her rappelling skills, smoothly descending from the top floor while maintaining proper form and control. Her academy training served her well, and she quickly adapted to the station's specific equipment and procedures. The veteran crew members watched approvingly as she executed each technique with confidence and precision. Lieutenant Thompson took Sarah aside during a break, offering advice about integrating into the established team dynamic. She explained that trust was earned through consistent performance and reliability, especially during high-stress emergency situations. Sarah appreciated the guidance, understanding that proving herself would require more than just technical competence. She needed to demonstrate her commitment to the crew's safety and mission. As the afternoon progressed, the training intensified. The crew practiced coordinated rescue scenarios that required seamless teamwork and communication. Sarah found herself naturally falling into sync with her new colleagues, anticipating their movements and responding quickly to verbal commands. Her physical fitness and technical skills impressed the veterans, who began including her in their strategic discussions about rescue techniques. Engineer Martinez commented on Sarah's attention to detail, particularly her methodical approach to equipment inspection and maintenance. In the fire service, equipment failure could be catastrophic, so her thoroughness was especially valued. She had learned during academy training that successful firefighters were those who prepared obsessively, leaving nothing to chance when lives hung in the balance. The station's alarm system suddenly pierced the afternoon air with its distinctive electronic wail. Engine 19, Truck 19, Battalion 5, respond to structure fire 1247 Oak Street. The dispatcher's voice crackled through the speakers. The crew's demeanor instantly shifted from relaxed training mode to focused professionalism as they moved swiftly toward their apparatus. Sarah's heart raced as she climbed into the engine, her first real emergency call about to unfold. The veteran crew members moved with practiced efficiency, donning their protective gear while the truck accelerated through city streets, with lights flashing and sirens blaring. Lieutenant Thompson briefed the crew over the radio about the incident details, explaining that neighbors had reported smoke coming from a residential structure. During the short drive to the scene, Sarah reviewed her training mentally, preparing for whatever they might encounter. Captain Williams reminded the crew about standard operating procedures for residential fires, emphasizing the importance of coordinated attack lines and proper ventilation techniques. The adrenaline flowing through Sarah's system sharpened her focus, and she felt ready to apply everything she had learned. The burning house came into view as they turned onto Oak Street, smoke pouring from second-floor windows while neighbors gathered at a safe distance on the sidewalk. Captain Williams quickly assessed the situation, establishing command and assigning initial tactical objectives to his crew. Sarah would be part of the interior attack team, following Engineer Martinez into the structure to locate and suppress the fire. As they prepared to enter the building, Captain Williams conducted a final safety check, ensuring everyone's equipment was properly secured and functioning. Sarah felt the weight of her breathing apparatus and the heat of her protective gear as she approached the front door. This moment represented the culmination of months of training and years of dreaming about becoming a firefighter. The team prepared to make entry, their movements coordinated and purposeful. Sarah gripped her axe tightly, ready to follow her experienced colleagues into the dangerous environment ahead. The real test of her abilities was about to begin, and she was determined to prove herself worthy of wearing the badge and serving alongside these dedicated professionals who had welcomed her into their brotherhood. The interior of the burning house was a maze of smoke and heat that tested every skill Sarah had learned during her academy training. Following Engineer Martinez through the blackened hallways, she maintained constant communication through her radio while searching for the seat of the fire. The visibility was near zero, forcing the team to navigate by touch and instinct as they advanced their hose line deeper into the structure. Sarah's breathing apparatus functioned perfectly, delivering clean air while she worked in the toxic environment. The weight of her gear felt familiar now, each piece serving a crucial purpose in protecting her from the hostile conditions. She coordinated with Martinez to position their attack line for maximum effectiveness, remembering her training about proper water flow patterns and fire suppression techniques. The fire had spread through the second floor, creating dangerous conditions that required careful tactical decisions. Captain Williams maintained command from outside, coordinating multiple crews and ensuring adequate water supply for sustained operations. His voice crackled through their radio headsets, providing updates about structural conditions and escape route security as the interior teams worked to knock down the flames. Sarah discovered a pocket of heavy fire in the master bedroom, immediately calling for backup while maintaining her position to prevent the flames from spreading further. Her quick thinking and aggressive attack helped contain the blaze to a single room, potentially saving the rest of the structure from extensive damage. Engineer Martinez praised her composure under pressure, noting how smoothly she had executed proper fire suppression procedures. After 2 hours of intensive firefighting operations, the crew successfully brought the blaze under control. The homeowners had evacuated safely before the fire department's arrival, and no injuries occurred during the suppression efforts. Sarah felt exhausted but exhilarated as they began the process of overhauling the scene, searching for hidden fire that could reignite after they left. During the overhaul phase, Sarah worked methodically through the damaged rooms, using thermal imaging equipment to locate hotspots that might harbor smoldering materials. Her thorough approach impressed the veteran crew members, who recognized her commitment to completing every aspect of the job properly. Lieutenant Thompson commented that Sarah's performance during her first real fire exceeded expectations for a rookie firefighter. The crew returned to the station as evening approached, their equipment covered in soot and their uniforms bearing the unmistakable marks of their profession. Sarah felt a deep sense of satisfaction from her successful completion of her first structure fire, knowing she had contributed meaningfully to protecting her community. The adrenaline from the emergency was wearing off, replaced by the quiet pride of work well done. Back at the station, the crew began the essential process of cleaning and inspecting their equipment. Sarah took particular care with her breathing apparatus and protective gear, understanding that her life depended on their proper function during future emergencies. She methodically checked every component, documenting her inspection in the required maintenance logs that would track the equipment's readiness for service. Captain Williams conducted a brief critique of the fire attack, highlighting successful tactics while identifying areas for improvement. He specifically commended Sarah's radio discipline and aggressive interior attack, noting that her performance demonstrated excellent training and natural firefighting instincts. The feedback reinforced her confidence and strengthened her sense of belonging within the crew. As the evening progressed, the firefighters shared stories and relaxed together in the day room. Sarah began to understand the unique camaraderie that existed among firefighters, forged through shared dangers and mutual dependence. The crew welcomed her into their conversations, treating her as an equal colleague rather than just a new recruit trying to prove herself. Engineer Martinez showed Sarah photographs from previous significant fires the crew had fought, explaining the tactical decisions and challenges they had faced during each incident. These informal teaching moments provided valuable insights that would supplement her formal training, helping her develop the intuitive understanding that separated good firefighters from great ones. The station's second alarm of the day came just as the crew finished dinner. This time, they responded to a vehicle accident with entrapment, requiring their specialized rescue equipment and techniques. Sarah's heart rate increased again as they rushed toward their apparatus, but she felt more confident now, having successfully completed her first emergency response earlier in the day. The accident scene presented different challenges than the house fire, requiring precision cutting tools and careful stabilization procedures to safely extract the trapped driver. Sarah assisted with scene safety and equipment operation, while the more experienced crew members performed the delicate extrication. She observed their techniques carefully, absorbing lessons that would serve her well in future rescue situations. After successfully freeing the accident victim and ensuring proper medical care, the crew returned to quarters once again. Sarah reflected on the diverse nature of emergency responses, understanding that firefighters must be prepared for any type of crisis that might arise. The variety of challenges made the job intellectually stimulating while demanding continuous learning and skill development. As her first shift neared its end, Sarah felt genuinely accepted by her new colleagues. They had worked together successfully during real emergencies, building the foundation of trust that would define their professional relationships. The veteran firefighters began sharing more personal stories, indicating their growing comfort with including her in their close-knit group. 3 months into her assignment at Station 19, Sarah had established herself as a reliable and competent firefighter. Her colleagues respected her work ethic and dedication, often seeking her input during tactical discussions and equipment training sessions. The initial period of proving herself was behind her, replaced by the comfortable rhythm of shift work and emergency responses that defined life in the fire service. The crew had developed a strong bond through shared experiences at dozens of emergency scenes. Sarah had participated in structure fires, vehicle accidents, medical emergencies, and technical rescues that tested every aspect of her training. Her performance consistently met or exceeded expectations, earning praise from Captain Williams and recommendations for advanced training opportunities that would further develop her skills. Lieutenant Thompson had become something of a mentor to Sarah, sharing insights about navigating the unique challenges faced by women in the fire service. Their conversations covered everything from physical training techniques to communication strategies that helped establish credibility with colleagues and the public. Sarah appreciated the guidance, understanding that Thompson's experience could help her avoid potential pitfalls in her career development. The station's annual physical fitness evaluation was scheduled for the following week, requiring all firefighters to demonstrate their ability to perform essential job functions under controlled conditions. Sarah had been training extensively, knowing that maintaining peak physical condition was crucial for both personal safety and crew effectiveness during emergency operations. Her dedication to fitness had impressed her colleagues, who often joined her for evening workouts. During a quiet afternoon shift, Captain Williams announced that the department's administrative staff would be conducting routine inspections of all personnel files and equipment assignments. Sarah thought nothing of the announcement, understanding that bureaucratic requirements were simply part of working for a large municipal organization. She continued her equipment maintenance tasks, ensuring that every piece of gear met department standards. The inspection team arrived the following morning, consisting of Deputy Chief Anderson, a human resources representative, and a department photographer who documented equipment conditions for insurance purposes. They worked methodically through the station, checking maintenance records and interviewing crew members about operational procedures and safety protocols. Sarah was completing her daily equipment inspection when Deputy Chief Anderson approached with his clipboard and serious expression. He explained that department policy required periodic verification, that all personnel met continuing education requirements and maintained current certifications. Sarah gathered her training records, confident that everything was in order and properly documented. The administrative review proceeded smoothly as Sarah presented her certificates for hazardous materials training, emergency medical procedures, and specialized rescue techniques. Deputy Chief Anderson noted her excellent training record and commended her proactive approach to professional development. The interview seemed routine until he mentioned one final requirement, That caught Sarah completely off guard. Department policy mandated that all firefighters undergo periodic medical examinations to ensure they remained physically capable of performing their duties safely. The examination included a comprehensive physical assessment that would require removal of all clothing and protective gear for thorough inspection by the department physician. Sarah felt her stomach tighten as she realized what this meant for her carefully guarded secret. The medical examination was scheduled for that afternoon at the department's health services facility. Sarah tried to maintain her composure while her mind raced through possible options for avoiding the revealing examination. She had successfully concealed her tattoo for months, wearing appropriate clothing and being careful during equipment changes when other firefighters might be present. As the time for her appointment approached, Sarah considered various excuses that might postpone the examination. However, she knew that delaying would only create suspicion and potentially jeopardize her position within the department. The medical evaluation was mandatory for all personnel, and refusing to participate would likely result in suspension or termination from her dream job. Dr. Peterson, the department physician, maintained a professional demeanor as he explained the examination procedures. The assessment would include cardiovascular testing, strength measurements, and a complete physical inspection to identify any conditions that might affect job performance. Sarah nodded her understanding while internally preparing herself for the moment when her tattoo would be revealed. The examination began with routine procedures that Sarah had experienced during her initial hiring process. Blood pressure, heart rate, and lung function tests proceeded normally as Dr. Peterson documented her excellent physical condition. Sarah's anxiety increased as the evaluation progressed toward the portion that would require removing her shirt and exposing the elaborate artwork covering her back. When Dr. Peterson finally asked her to remove her upper clothing for the physical inspection, Sarah hesitated momentarily before complying with the instruction. She turned around slowly, feeling exposed and vulnerable as the intricate phoenix and rose design became visible for the first time to anyone in the fire department. The silence in the room seemed to stretch endlessly as the doctor processed what he was seeing. Dr. Peterson maintained his professional composure while examining the tattoo, taking notes about its size and location without making any judgmental comments. Sarah stood quietly, trying to gauge his reaction while wondering what consequences might follow this revelation. The artwork that had provided her with strength and healing now felt like a potential threat to her career and reputation. After completing his examination, Dr. Peterson asked Sarah to dress while he finished his documentation. His neutral expression provided no clues about his intentions regarding the tattoo, leaving Sarah to wonder whether this discovery would somehow impact her standing within the department. She prepared herself for questions about the artwork's meaning and significance, hoping to explain its personal importance without appearing unprofessional. Dr. Peterson closed his examination notes and looked directly at Sarah with an expression that seemed thoughtful rather than disapproving. The silence in the medical facility stretched uncomfortably as Sarah waited for his response to discovering her hidden tattoo. She had rehearsed explanations in her mind countless times, but now that the moment had arrived, words seemed inadequate to convey the deeply personal meaning behind the artwork. Instead of the criticism or professional concerns Sarah expected, Dr. Peterson surprised her with a gentle question about the symbolism within her tattoo. His tone was curious rather than judgmental, suggesting genuine interest in understanding the story behind the elaborate design. Sarah felt a mixture of relief and apprehension as she realized he was offering her an opportunity to explain rather than simply documenting a potential policy violation. Sarah took a deep breath and began sharing the painful history that had inspired her tattoo. She explained how her younger brother's death in a house fire had devastated their family and motivated her career choice in the fire service. The phoenix rising from flames represented her own journey of healing and transformation, while the roses honored her brother's memory and her mother's strength during their family's darkest period. Dr. Peterson listened intently as Sarah described each element of the artwork and its significance. In her personal healing process, he asked thoughtful questions that demonstrated his understanding of trauma and recovery, revealing his background in treating first responders who had experienced similar losses. His empathetic response helped Sarah relax as she realized he viewed her tattoo as a positive expression of resilience, rather than a problematic display. The conversation shifted toward the potential implications of the tattoo within the fire department's organizational culture. Dr. Peterson explained that while official policies prohibited visible tattoos during duty hours, exceptions were often made for artwork with significant personal or cultural meaning. Sarah's tattoo was completely concealed by her uniform, so it posed no conflict with public appearance standards or professional image requirements. Dr. Peterson completed his medical evaluation by documenting Sarah's excellent physical condition and recommending her for continued active duty without restrictions. He made no mention of the tattoo in his official report, treating it as a personal matter that had no bearing on her professional capabilities or fitness for firefighting duties. His discretion allowed Sarah to maintain control over when and how she might choose to share her story with colleagues. Returning to Station 19 after her medical examination, Sarah felt a complex mixture of emotions. The relief of passing her physical evaluation was tempered by anxiety about whether word of her tattoo might somehow spread through the department. She had learned to trust her crew members, but the fire service was a small community where information traveled quickly through informal networks. Captain Williams greeted Sarah upon her return, asking routinely about her medical examination results. She reported that Dr. Peterson had cleared her for continued duty without any restrictions or concerns. The captain seemed satisfied with her response and returned to his administrative duties, without pursuing additional details about the evaluation process. Sarah resumed her regular duties with renewed focus, channeling her nervous energy into thorough equipment maintenance and training preparation. Lieutenant Thompson noticed her subdued mood and asked privately if everything was acceptable after her medical appointment. Sarah appreciated the concern, but deflected with general reassurances that the examination had proceeded normally. As the shift progressed, Sarah found herself observing her colleagues more carefully, wondering how they might react if they learned about her tattoo. The crew had accepted her based on her professional competence and personal character, but she couldn't predict whether visible artwork might change their perceptions or comfort level with her presence in their close-knit group. During the evening meal, Engineer Martinez shared stories about his own military tattoos and their significance in commemorating his service experiences. His casual discussion of meaningful body art helped Sarah realize that several crew members had their own tattoos with personal importance. The conversation suggested a more accepting attitude toward artistic expression than she had initially. Assumed firefighter Johnson mentioned his daughter's recent decision to get a small tattoo honoring her grandmother's memory, describing his initial concerns followed by eventual support for her choice. His perspective as a father dealing with similar issues demonstrated the evolving attitudes within their generation regarding personal expression through body art. The shift ended quietly with routine equipment, checks, and administrative tasks that helped Sarah regain her equilibrium. She reflected on the day's events while preparing to leave the station, grateful for Dr. Peterson's professional discretion and her crew's continued acceptance. The secret that had weighed on her for months remained safe, known only to a medical professional bound by confidentiality requirements. As Sarah drove home through the city streets, she considered whether maintaining secrecy about her tattoo was still necessary or beneficial. The artwork represented significant personal growth and healing, and hiding it might actually diminish its positive impact on her life. She began to contemplate the possibility of eventually sharing her story with trusted colleagues who had earned her respect and friendship. The experience with Dr. Peterson had demonstrated that not everyone would react negatively to her tattoo, especially when they understood its meaningful significance. Perhaps her fears about professional consequences were overblown, based more on assumptions than actual evidence of intolerance within the fire department's culture. 2 weeks after her medical examination, Sarah received unexpected news that would test her relationship with her crew in ways she had never anticipated. Captain Williams announced during the morning briefing that Station 19 had been selected to participate in a departmental training video about modern firefighting techniques and equipment. The production would showcase their crew's expertise while highlighting recent advances in safety procedures and tactical methods. The training video project excited the entire crew, who viewed it as recognition of their professional excellence and teamwork. They would demonstrate various rescue scenarios, equipment operations, and emergency procedures that would be used to train firefighters throughout the region. Sarah felt honored to be included in the production, understanding that participation reflected her acceptance as a valued team member. The video production team arrived the following week with professional cameras, lighting equipment, and detailed scripts outlining the demonstration scenarios. The director, a former firefighter who understood the technical aspects of their work, explained that authenticity was crucial for creating effective training materials. He emphasized the importance of following actual procedures exactly as they would during real emergencies. Sarah participated enthusiastically in the initial filming sessions, demonstrating proper hose line deployment, ladder operations, and equipment maintenance procedures. Her technical competence and natural communication skills impressed the production team, who began featuring her more prominently in explanatory segments that would help viewers understand complex procedures and safety principles. The filming schedule included a segment focused on proper use of personal protective equipment, requiring detailed demonstrations of how firefighters don and doff their gear efficiently. Sarah felt comfortable with this portion of the training video, having mastered these procedures during her academy training and refined her technique. Through months of practical experience at Station 19, Director Thompson explained that the protective equipment segment would include close-up shots of proper gear, adjustment, and safety checks that ensure optimal protection during emergency operations. The cameras would document every aspect of the equipment process, from initial inspection through final preparation for interior firefighting operations. Sarah nodded her understanding, focused on demonstrating perfect technique for the training video. The filming began with standard shots of the crew preparing for response, adjusting their protective gear in the apparatus bay while discussing tactical objectives. Sarah moved confidently through her equipment routine, checking connections and adjustments with the practiced efficiency that had become second nature. The cameras captured her methodical approach while the director provided commentary about safety protocols. As the demonstration progressed, the director requested more detailed coverage of protective equipment inspection and adjustment procedures. This required closer camera work and multiple angles that would clearly show viewers how to identify potential problems with their gear. Sarah continued performing her routine while the production team positioned their equipment for optimal documentation of the process. The critical moment arrived when the director asked Sarah to demonstrate the complete removal and redonning of protective equipment that firefighters might need to perform during extended operations or equipment malfunctions. The cameras would document proper procedures for equipment exchange or inspection that could occur during actual emergency scenes where such knowledge might prove crucial for safety. Sarah hesitated momentarily, realizing that complete gear removal would expose her back and the elaborate tattoo she had kept hidden for months. The production team waited patiently as she processed the situation, understanding that her demonstration would be viewed by firefighters throughout the region and potentially beyond. This was exactly the type of exposure she had worked so carefully to avoid. Captain Williams noticed Sarah's hesitation and approached to discuss any concerns about the filming requirements. She explained quietly that she had personal reasons for preferring not to remove her protective shirt during the demonstration. The captain's expression showed understanding, but he also emphasized the importance of completing the training video properly for educational purposes. The director overheard their conversation and offered to modify the filming approach to accommodate Sarah's concerns while still capturing the necessary educational content. He suggested using different camera angles or editing techniques that would preserve the instructional value without requiring complete exposure. Sarah appreciated the offer, but realized that any special accommodation might draw unwanted attention to her situation. After a moment of internal debate, Sarah made a decision that surprised even herself. She decided to proceed with the complete demonstration, accepting that her tattoo would be revealed to her colleagues and eventually to firefighters throughout the region. The artwork represented important personal growth and healing, and perhaps it was time to stop hiding something that had actually strengthened her character and resolve. Sarah took a deep breath and began removing her protective equipment as the cameras rolled, revealing the intricate phoenix and rose design that covered much of her back. The production crew continued their work professionally, while her colleagues at Station 19 saw her tattoo for the first time. The moment she had feared for months was finally happening, and she felt strangely relieved to no longer carry the burden of secrecy. The camera continued rolling as Sarah's elaborate tattoo was fully revealed, But something unexpected happened in that moment of vulnerability. Instead of judgment or disapproval, the room fell into a respectful silence that felt more like admiration than criticism. The intricate artwork told a story that required no explanation, its powerful imagery speaking directly to the experiences and emotions that firefighters understood intimately. Engineer Martinez was the first to speak, his voice filled with genuine respect as he commented on the beauty and obvious significance of the design. He recognized the phoenix symbolism immediately, understanding its connection to themes of rebirth and resilience that resonated deeply within the fire service culture. His positive response set a tone that influenced the entire crew's reaction to Sarah's revelation. Lieutenant Thompson approached Sarah with tears in her eyes, moved by the obvious personal significance of the artwork and the courage required to reveal something so meaningful. She shared her own story of loss and recovery, explaining how the death of her partner during her early career had shaped her approach to firefighting and life. The connection between their experiences created an immediate bond that transcended their professional relationship. Captain Williams studied the tattoo thoughtfully, recognizing the craftsmanship and artistic merit of the design, while understanding its deeper meaning. He asked Sarah if she would be comfortable sharing the story behind the artwork, emphasizing that her privacy would be respected regardless of her decision. The supportive atmosphere encouraged Sarah to open up about her brother's death and her journey toward healing. The production crew maintained their professionalism while witnessing this unexpected moment of emotional connection among the firefighters. The director recognized that they were capturing something authentic and powerful that would enhance the educational value of their training video. He asked permission to include Sarah's story in the final production, understanding that her experience might inspire and help other firefighters dealing with similar losses. Sarah found herself sharing details about her brother's death that she had never discussed with colleagues before. The crew listened attentively as she described the house fire that had claimed his life and her family's struggle to cope with the tragedy. Her voice remained steady as she explained how the tattoo had helped her process grief and find strength to pursue her, calling in the fire service. Firefighter Johnson revealed his own connection to Sarah's story, sharing how his nephew had died in a car accident that had motivated his decision to become a first responder. The parallel experiences created another layer of understanding and support within the crew, reinforcing the bonds that already existed among them. Sarah realized that her fears about rejection had been unfounded, replaced by deeper acceptance and respect. The filming resumed with a transformed dynamic among the crew members, their interactions now informed by greater knowledge of Sarah's personal journey and the meaning behind her artistic expression. The director captured natural moments of camaraderie and support that would make the training video more impactful for viewers struggling with their own challenges and losses within the fire service community. As the production day concluded, Sarah reflected on the unexpected outcome of her revelation. The secret that had burdened her for months had actually strengthened her relationships with colleagues and created opportunities for deeper connection. She no longer needed to carefully manage her clothing or worry about accidental exposure during equipment changes or training exercises. The completed training video became one of the most popular educational resources in the fire service, not just for its technical content but for the authentic human stories it contained. Sarah's segment about overcoming personal tragedy and finding purpose through service resonated with firefighters facing their own challenges, making her an inadvertent role model for resilience and professional excellence. Months later, Sarah received letters and messages from firefighters across the country who had been inspired by her story and her willingness to share personal experiences that helped others cope with loss and trauma. The tattoo that had once been a source of anxiety became a symbol of strength that connected her to a broader community of first responders who understood the unique challenges of their chosen profession. Station 19's crew developed an even stronger bond following Sarah's revelation. Their trust and mutual support deepened by the vulnerability she had shown and the acceptance they had demonstrated. The experience reinforced their understanding that true strength came not from hiding personal struggles but from sharing them with colleagues who could provide understanding and support. Sarah's career flourished as she continued developing her skills and taking on additional responsibilities within the department. The confidence she gained from her colleagues' acceptance allowed her to pursue leadership opportunities and specialized training that further enhanced her value to the organization. Her story became part of Station 19's culture, inspiring future firefighters to embrace their own journeys of growth and healing. The phoenix on her back had indeed risen from the ashes, not just of personal tragedy, but of fear and isolation that had kept her from fully connecting with her chosen family in the fire service. Sarah's courage to reveal her hidden story had transformed not only her own experience, but also the lives of countless others who found hope and inspiration in her journey. Years later, when new recruits joined Station 19, they often heard Sarah's story during their orientation. The tale of the firefighter who turned personal tragedy into professional purpose became part of the station's legacy, teaching young firefighters that strength could emerge from the most difficult experiences. Sarah herself became a mentor to others dealing with loss, using her experience to help them find their own paths to healing. The training video continued to be used throughout the fire service, Sarah's story serving as a powerful reminder that behind every badge and uniform was a human being with their own struggles and triumphs. Her willingness to be vulnerable had created a ripple effect that extended far beyond Station 19, encouraging first responders everywhere to support each other through the challenges that came with their demanding profession. On quiet evenings at the station, when the crew gathered to share stories and unwind from difficult calls, Sarah sometimes reflected on the journey that had brought her to this place of acceptance and belonging. The tattoo that had once been her deepest secret had become a bridge connecting her to others, proving that the things we try hardest to hide are often the very things that make us most human and most capable of helping others. The phoenix continued to rise, not just on Sarah's back, but in the lives of everyone touched by her courage to transform pain into purpose, secrecy into strength, and personal tragedy into professional triumph. Her story became a testament to the power of vulnerability and the healing that comes when we allow others to see our scars and understand that they make us stronger, not weaker.